Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined by Jonathan Handford, and we're going to talk about how autism has potentially helped him to be a better estate agent. What do you mean by that, Jonathan? Talk to me.
It's something I never thought I'd be sat on a couch talking to somebody about, certainly in this context. Myself and my wife have recently gone through quite a lengthy process with our son. He's 5 years old, and he's recently received a dual diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. He's got something called a PDA variant, which is pathological demand avoidance, and he's also got a combined type ADHD diagnosis.
What does all that mean in layman's terms?
So it's a neurodiversity thing. So you have somebody without those conditions might be neurotypical, and then somebody with would be neurodiverse. And there are other offshoots of that, which also include dyspraxia, dyslexia. And I guess in layman's terms, it's just wired a bit differently. What's been interesting as part of this journey to try and get a diagnosis with our son to try and help him as best as possible. When it was first even mentioned at school, and I was able to put the person on the spot and say, do you think he might be autistic? And at that point where the lady Jo said yes, I instantly went back that day. I enrolled upon a qualification. I got a level 3 qualification. I'd completed it within the space of a month. And again, even my wife would say, that's not quite what the normal person would do. And it's quite quick for you to turn that around. And I found it really easy to be able to do it and drill down. But as part of that learning journey, it then became fairly evident that autism's hereditary, and a lot of the traits that my son has, I've had. And a lot of the things that have maybe served me well within my business makeup.
Because we've talked about it before, you are an outward going people person, but for some reason, which is what most estate agents are, yet you have these particular skill sets of being detail orientated and perfectionist and precise, which is most estate agents don't have those skills.
Sure, and I think that's probably served me well. And it's interesting, the detail thing, there's a test that you can take and it put me on the 71st percentile for autism, so I must stress I'm not diagnosed, my son is. But having gone through the process and talked to the professionals, they've said there are lots of things and lots of traits that you have that would suggest that you are.
Has that come from your father's side? Because we've talked about it previously.
So again, my father didn't diagnose it. However, again, there's lots of traits that he carries that would suggest there's maybe possibilities. So I can remember as a child winding him up as he moved things around the table because he needed everything in a certain order. And at the time, he just didn't think anything of it. But looking back now, there's obvious signs. And talking to my colleagues and being quite open and honest with them, they all kind of looked at each other and went, yeah, we've known for years. I said, well, hang on a minute, what do you mean? They said, well, you love spreadsheets, you're really organised, you're methodical with everything you do, you're very regimented, you never switch off, you can't sleep. All of those things are fairly obvious indicators.
And you're a good estate agent, people person.
Yes.
So if you don't mind me saying, it's more of a skill, actually, isn't it? It's
Look, I like it
like an ability than a disability.
It's a different ability rather than a disability, and I think if you can channel it properly, I think you can use it to serve you well. And look, the attention to detail thing, I remember when I took the test that put me on 71st percentile, one of the questions was, do you have an attention for detail that people wouldn't normally notice? I remember saying to my wife, I said, the spa that we go to at the Warwickshire, the health club, I said, there are 7 places where there's a run of 5 mosaics in a consistent line and there aren't any other colours around it. I said, is that normal? And Laura said, no. She said, but I also know that you once took a spirit level to work because you were convinced the poles on the bandstand weren't level, and they weren't. And she said, who takes a spirit level to the park? I needed to know. It was like a comforting thing to know. So now with the benefit of hindsight, I can look back and it's bleeding obvious. But I think it's something that's helped me. And I think the ADHD thing is, I maybe think I've got a good work ethic. Laura would say, well, you just can't switch off. You're incapable of it. So you'll work till really late in the evening and you'll be up really early. And you won't be able to sleep at night if you haven't got back to all the people that you needed to get back to. So all of those things, actually,
I bet you're an empty inbox man as well, aren't you?
I can't stand to have a full inbox, 24, 48 hours. So on a holiday, I'll be firing through everything, and I can get as many as 400 emails a day. And I have a burning desire to get on top of them. And it starts to make me feel really uncomfortable if I'm not on top of it. And these days, it isn't just your inbox. Christ, we've reached in so many platforms. You have to be up to speed with your Messenger, your WhatsApp, your Instagram. Every single one of those inboxes has to be down to zero. Otherwise, it's a sleepless night.
Have you got better at it?
No, I'd say I'm probably... No, I genuinely haven't.
So how does your wife deal with this?
We've been together so long, she just accepts me for what I am. And we've just come back from a week in the Lake District. I had an office set up in the Lake District with my computer, my mouse, and my keyboard and everything set there so that I could duck in and out on a daily basis. And I genuinely don't feel like I've worked a day in my life because of the nature of what I do. I really enjoy it, and I'd probably get bored without it, and I'd probably have other health issues. So the fact that I've got this, it's a comfort thing, and and I really enjoy it. But like I said, I think it has served me well.
I mean, do you recognise those traits in other people, in other estate agents?
So it's interesting. One of the best estate agents that I work with is a lady called Vanessa Bradford, who runs our Worcestershire operation. And Vanessa, I think, is probably undiagnosed ADHD as well. She is, like me, incapable of switching off. She's very particular with what she does. She's very energetic. But again, she's learned to channel that to her advantage. So I think there are people within the industry that you would think maybe have got those traits as well and have learnt to channel them to their advantage. So yes.
So treat it as an ability, not a disability.
Yeah.
Be aware of it, and just be yourself, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, eventually, hopefully, at the end of the journey, you never know. Elliot, one day, my son, he could well be a future estate agent, and he could be cut from the same cloth and doing a similar thing. So you never know.
Well, my thought goes out to your wife. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Chris.